Hello and welcome to Clarity Education Systems. In this video, we will review personality disorders as outlined in the DSM-5. We will explore the various disorders, their key characteristics, and how they impact individuals' lives. Personality disorders are a group of mental health conditions characterized by enduring patterns of behavior, cognition, and inner experience that deviate significantly from the cultural expectations and norms. These patterns often lead to distress for the individual or impairment in various areas of their life, such as relationships, work, and self-functioning. Personality disorders usually begin in adolescence or early adulthood and continue throughout a person's life. There are several different types of personality disorders, each with its own distinct feature and characteristic. The DSM-5, or Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, categorizes personality disorders into three distinct clusters. Cluster A, odd or eccentric disorders. This cluster includes paranoid, schizoid, and schizotypical personality disorders. People with these disorders may appear odd or eccentric in their behavior and often have difficulties in social interactions. Cluster B, dramatic or emotional disorders. This cluster comprises antisocial, borderline, histrionic, and narcissistic personality disorders. Individuals with these disorders often display intense and unpredictable emotions, as well as impulsive and attention-seeking behavior. Cluster C, anxious or fearful disorders. This cluster includes avoidant, dependent, and obsessive-compulsive personality disorders. People with these disorders tend to experience high levels of anxiety, fear, and discomfort in social situations, which can impact their ability to connect with others. Remember, personality disorders can cause significant distress to individuals and impact their relationships, work, and overall quality of life. Treatment approaches may involve psychotherapy, medication management, and other forms of support, depending on the specific personality disorder and its associated symptoms. A helpful way to remember the three clusters of personality disorders in the DSM-5 is to use the mnemonic odd, dramatic, anxious. The first grouping we will look at is known as Cluster A and are a group of disorders characterized by odd or eccentric behavior. The three personality disorders in this cluster are paranoid, schizoid, and schizotypical. It is important to note that having some eccentric or odd behaviors does not necessarily mean a person has a personality disorder. To diagnose a personality disorder, the pattern of behavior must be pervasive, inflexible, and cause significant distress or impairment in various areas of life. Paranoid personality disorder is characterized by a pervasive and unjustified mistrust and suspicion of others. Individuals with this disorder often interpret the actions and motives of others as threatening, even when there's no concrete evidence to support these beliefs. This suspicion can make it challenging for them to establish and maintain close relationships. Key features of paranoid personality include unwarranted suspicion. Individuals with this disorder, again, highly suspicious of others, often believing that people are out to harm or deceive them. Hypervigilance. They are constantly on the lookout for signs of betrayal or deceit, interpreting innocent actions as intentional harm. Reluctance to confide. People with this disorder are hesitant to share personal information due to their fear that it might be used against them. Bearing grudges. They often hold on to perceived slights and insults, and they might be unforgiving even when evidence suggests they are mistaken. Angry or defensive reactions. When feeling threatened, they may react with anger, aggression, or defensive behavior. Moving on to schizoid personality disorder. This is characterized by a pattern of detachment from social relationships and a limited range of emotional expression. Individuals with this disorder may prefer solitary activities and have little interest in forming close relationships and appear emotionally distant or indifferent to others. They often have a limited ability to experience pleasure and may seem socially isolated and emotionally cold. They may have little or no interest in sexual experiences with other individuals and appear indifferent to the praise or criticism received by others. They can be emotionally cold, detached, and present with a flattened affect. Schizotypical personality disorder is characterized by odd or eccentric behavior, along with unusual beliefs, thoughts, and perceptions. Individuals with this disorder often have difficulty forming and maintaining close relationships, as their behavior can be perceived as peculiar or socially inappropriate. Key features of schizotypical personality disorder include cognitive perceptual distortions. People with this disorder may experience unusual beliefs or magical thinking, such as believing in telepathy or having suspicious thoughts. They might also have perceptual distortions, like believing as though they can see things that others can't. Odd speech and behavior. Their speech may be vague, metaphorical, or peculiar. They might dress or behave in ways that are unconventional or eccentric. Social anxiety. While they may desire social interaction, they often feel anxious and uncomfortable around others. This can lead to limited social connections. Paranoid ideation. They may have paranoid thoughts or ideas that contribute to their difficulties in forming relationships. Limited emotional expression. Similar to schizoid personality disorder, individuals may have a restricted range of emotional expression. Next, we'll take a look at Cluster B personality disorders. First up is antisocial personality disorder, or ASPD. It's characterized by a pattern of disregard for and violation of rights of others. People with ASPD often engage in impulsive and irresponsible behavior, have little regard for societal rules or norms, and lack empathy for others' feelings. They may have a history of legal problems, manipulation, and deceitful behavior. Per the diagnostic criteria, the patient must have a pervasive pattern that occurs since the age of 15. Additionally, in order to receive the diagnosis, the individual must be at least the age of 18. Anything prior to this should be assessed for conduct disorder. Borderline personality disorder is characterized by a pattern of instability in self-image, emotions, interpersonal relationships, and behavior. Individuals with BPD often experience intense emotions and have difficulty managing them, leading to impulsive behaviors and unstable relationships. Some common features of borderline personality disorder include frantic efforts to avoid real or perceived abandonment, unstable and intense interpersonal relationships alternating between idealization and devaluation of others, identity disturbance, uncertainty about self-image, goals, and values, impulsivity and potentially self-damaging behaviors such as substance abuse, reckless driving, or binge eating, recurrent suicidal behaviors, self-harm, or threats of self-harm, emotional instability with frequent mood swings and intense, inappropriate anger, chronic feelings of emptiness and boredom, and transient stress-related paranoid thoughts or severe dissociative symptoms under stress. Histrionic personality disorder, or HPD, is characterized by a pattern of excessive emotionality and attention-seeking behavior. Individuals with HPD often have a strong need for approval and are uncomfortable when they are not the center of attention. They may use physical appearance, emotions, and behavior to draw attention to themselves. Common traits associated with histrionic personality disorder include constant seeking of attention and being uncomfortable when not the focus of others' attention, exaggerated and theatrical emotional expression, rapidly shifting emotions and shallow emotions, inappropriately seductive or provocative behaviors, a tendency to be easily influenced by others or to believe relationships are more intimate than they actually are, an excessive need for approval and reassurance. The style of speech is impressionistic and lacking in detail. The tendency to make decisions that are based on the desire to please others rather than one's own needs. Now we come to narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD. This is characterized by a pattern of grandiosity, a constant need for admiration, and lack of empathy for others. Individuals with NPD often have an inflated sense of self-importance and may exaggerate their accomplishments and achievements. They tend to be preoccupied with fantasies of success, power, and beauty, and they believe they are unique and special. Some common traits and behaviors associated with NPD include exaggerating achievements and talents, expecting constant admiration and validation from others, having a sense of entitlement and believing they deserve special treatment, exploiting others for personal gain, envy of others or believing others are envious of them, demonstrating arrogant and haughty behaviors, lacking empathy and being unwilling to recognize or identify the feelings and needs of others, being arrogant and demonstrate conceited behaviors or attitudes. Now let's explore the Cluster C personality disorders. Avoidant personality disorder is characterized by a pervasive pattern of social inhibition, feelings of inadequacy, and hypersensitivity to negative evaluation. Individuals with avoidant personality disorder often avoid social interactions and fear being criticized or rejected by others. They may have a strong desire for social connection, but struggle with the intense anxiety and fear of rejection, leading to significant impairment in their personal and professional life. They see themselves as socially inept, personally unappealing, or inferior to. They can be reluctant to take personal risks or to engage in any activities that have the possibility of resulting in an embarrassing situation. Treatment options may include psychotherapy, CBT, and medications in some cases. Dependent personality disorder is characterized by an excessive need to be taken care of, which leads to submissive and clingy behavior. Individuals with this disorder have difficulty making everyday decisions on their own and tend to rely heavily on others for guidance and support. They often fear being left alone and have an intense fear of separation from those they depend on. They constantly seek the advice and reassurance from others when making everyday decisions. They also need others to take responsibility for major areas of their lives, avoid disagreeing with others for fear of loss of support or approval, and can experience extreme loss of self-confidence and will put themselves in voluntary positions that are considered unpleasant by others just to obtain the support and acceptance. They are extremely uncomfortable or feel helpless whenever they are alone and will seek out other connections immediately following the closure of a previous relationship in order to obtain care and nurturing. Obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, or OCPD, is characterized by a preoccupation with orderliness, perfectionism, and control. People with OCPD tend to be excessively focused on details, rules, and schedules. They often strive for perfection and have high standards for themselves and others. However, this rigid mindset can lead to difficulty in adapting to changing circumstances and difficulty in collaborating with others. They are obsessively devoted to their work and productivity to the point that they avoid leisure activities and their relationships. They can be overconscious, scrupulous, and inflexible about circumstances related to issues involving morality, ethics, or values. They are reluctant to delegate any task or responsibility to others unless other individuals completely submit to their way of doing things. They can be considered penny pinchers and view money as something to be saved for future complications or disasters. Primarily, they present as rigid and stubborn. Unlike OCD, which involves specific obsessions and compulsions, OCPD primarily relates to personality traits. Finally, in some cases, individuals may display patterns of personality traits that are associated with a specific medical condition or don't fit a specific disorder but still impact their daily functioning. Personality changes due to another medical condition is a specifier used in the DSM-5 to indicate that the observed changes in an individual's personality are a result of medical condition or medical treatment. This specifier is typically used when there is evidence that the personality changes are directly caused by physiologic factors associated with that medical condition, such as a brain injury, neurologic disorder, or hormonal imbalance. For children, the complication involves specifically identified deviation from normal development or a significant change in expected or usual behavioral patterns that last at least 1 year. Other specified personality disorder, or OSPD, includes specific types of personality patterns that cause significant distress or impairment, but do not fit the criteria for any of these specific personality disorder categories. An example of this could be a 35-year-old man who has always been somewhat reserved and anxious in social situations, tends to avoid large gatherings, and prefers spending time alone. He avoids social interactions, resulting in problems in his personal and professional life. While he doesn't meet the criteria for avoidant personality disorder, as he doesn't have an intense fear of criticism or rejection, it is clear that his personality traits are causing significant distress and impairment. Thus, the diagnosis of other specified personality disorder is considered. Understanding personality disorders is crucial for fostering empathy and providing appropriate support to those who need it. Remember, by associating the keywords odd, dramatic, and anxious with their categories, you create a simple and memorable way to recall the different personality clusters. Thanks for watching. This has been a review of the DSM-5 personality disorders and their associated clusters presented by Clarity Education Systems and PMHNPtesting.com. Make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel to receive updates on our PMHNP certification exam materials, and don't forget to join us for our on-demand review course by visiting www.pmhnptesting.com.